Hi, I'm Annette McFarland, and welcome to the classroom of the OLeary Cub News, where students produce a daily news show. You know, as a reporter, students need to be prepared and ready to go whenever an interview comes about. The questions continually asked is, what do I have to have ready to conduct the interview? How do I set up the equipment? What questions do I ask? Therefore, I've developed a series of videos called the How-Tos that help answer the question about the process. Students will learn how to set up the equipment and some video shooting techniques. Let's look at what it takes to prepare for your interview. Preparing for the camera is the most important part of the interview. Students need to consider what equipment will be needed to go out to shoot. The first thing that you want is your camera. The next thing that I ask students to have is to have 2 charged batteries. They may or may not need a tape depending on the type of camera they have. The right kind of microphone. Today's interview requires a handheld microphone, and then the questions that they'll be asking the interviewee. Now we want to look at how to set up the camera for filming. Begin by following these steps. First, take the camera out of the case and make sure that you you insert the battery. To do that, you take the arrows and align the arrows, locking the battery into place, and you'll hear that by it locking. You turn the camera on, then you check the LCD window, which will give you a reading of the camera life itself. Okay, it shows a full reading. Now what I'm going to do is, leaving the camera on, I'm going to press the eject button and insert the proper tape. The tape's been labeled for the interview. I'm going to drop the tape in and gently, with the forefinger and the thumb, push the tape case itself. Never force it. And then I close the door. Now I'm going to set up the tripod. And the tripod itself, this is already set up, but has clamps that allow you to drop them and lock them into place. Okay, once the tripod has been set up, we now move to go in ahead and putting the microphone on the tripod. Now, I did that kind of quickly, so what you need to do is the mounting clip's on, slide the camera forward on the tripod head with the mounting clip, and you'll hear it lock. The lever on the side needs to be tightened, and never let go of this camera until you're absolutely sure that everything's in place. Turn the camera on, open up your LCD window, okay, and from there I'm going to connect my microphone into the sound section of the camera. The sound section is always a red ring. My mic is in place. The next thing that I'll do is I'm going to prepare for the shot. So first of all, I'm going to press the record button and record 10 seconds of black. I like to do this because I think it allows you to edit in the front and then the back of the taping so that you don't have an awkward movement or something that will have to be covered up when you're doing the digital editing. I'll tape it for 10 seconds, then I'll remove the lens cap. Lens cap is removed, and from there, now it's important to do what we call a white balance, which adjusts the lens of the camera. So 2 ways you can do this. You can white balance the camera with a clipboard and white paper, or there's a white balance button on your camera itself. So I'm going to white balance it with a clipboard. And now I'm going to frame my subject into the shot. And I like to talk about the rule of thirds, where it's divided into 3 sections. I'm going to get a medium close-up of my subject and make sure that I have my subject, the interviewee, and the interviewer nicely placed within the frame of the camera, just like this example. Now that you've seen that example, I've adjusted it just right. I hit the red record button on the camera, and as the camera person, I'm going to count down for the interviewer so that he or she knows when to start. And I count down with 5, 4, 3, 2, and that person begins the interview itself. Okay, so we've covered the what do I need to take on the interview, what do I need to do to set up the equipment, and the last one is the questions. The questions for this interview need to always be prepared beforehand. I ask that you choose 3 questions about your subject matter that you've researched already, and that you have those, as the interviewer, you have those questions ready to go so that you can study those questions and then ask your interviewee the questions. I wish you luck. That's all for now on setting up the camera and recording the interview. The next video series we'll look at is what kind of questions do I need to ask the interviewee? And so I thank you for tuning in for this portion.